Ah, excellent. I'm live on Twitch, which means that YouTube is not far behind. Excellent, excellent. How's everyone doing? I see some wonderful faces in the chat. Let's see here. I know I saw... Well, first off, hello, Mad Munchkin. Always good to see you. I will do my best to talk in a very quiet and soothing voice so that you are lulled to a wonderful land of sleep. Excellent. I'm live on Twitch, which means I'm hearing myself. The joys of Echo. And let's see here. Who do I also see? Komodra Steel, good to see you. Little Heart Studios. No shipping wars tonight, I think, Little Heart. But we'll see. We'll see. And let's see here. Komodra, I see Jude3300. And Gojalion91, always good to see you. I've not seen Champ to stay in a little bit. Makes me worried that I'll have to keep remembering to keep the Thomas the Tank Engine tradition going. I see Prince Apollo and Helsing Ghost 1. Peppermint Presents. Thank you for that tweet with Darkwing Duck. He drew on my map. Oh, and a follower right off the bat. William Gannis. Thank you for following. Oh, and I never thanked Darth Revan for hosting me on their Twitch channel. Oh, and LB308. My goodness. All these folks getting together. Oh, now how am I gonna... Jeff, how am I gonna pronounce your name and not make an utter fool of myself? Trick question. I can't. Okoskinski. I don't know if I'm even close to that. Nomo Ruiz would probably have strong words for me. And Enderpup, good to see you in the chat. Thank you all for coming tonight. Especially when, truth be told, tonight's just a bit of what the hell played by earness. So, I hope you all have had a good week. It's been, how shall I put it? Well, how do I put this? I have a friend who is concerned for the future of their job, and so there's a lot of uncertainty and anxiety with that. So that's been a factor hanging over things, unfortunately. Oh, try, Nary. Thank you, as always, for your wonderful support. Then came Wednesday. I was on pins and needles Wednesday. I was like, please let nothing bad happen. And thankfully, nothing bad happened. In fact, while I respect that folks have different views on this, can we all at least agree that Lady Gaga was a beautiful singer that day? I thought she did a fantastic job. And so there was no violence, there was none of the doomsday I feared. So it was a shot to the spirit there. Oh, Prince Apollo, I'm so sorry for your grandparents. Oh, sometimes it's really hard to find good news, and you know, people will say, "Oh, being positive is just delusion." I think being negative is just surrendering your control. I'm not saying deny that bad things are happening, but you have the ability to also find good in situations. Now, I'm hoping that your grandparents are able to recover or find a new direction. As bad as that news is, I'm hoping that that positivity can come from a new event. Actual Aspie, I think it's natural to be worried, especially for the future, no matter what the situation. But at the same time, there's no reason to borrow trouble. However this new phase takes shape, there will be things to criticize, things to disagree about, but I have more hope for the future than despair, and hope to keep it that way. And if I ever go over that event horizon, oh boy. Let's see here. Thomas River, you got your taxes taken care of already? You're well ahead of myself. Still waiting on a few things. Oh, Champ, I do see you there. Good. Good to see you. What was the last PBS kids show I have seen? I think I scoped out Sesame Street not too long ago. It's a very different Sesame Street from when I grew up. Back in my day. What's this Elmo everyone's talking about? Actually, that's the funny thing. When did Elmo hit the scene? That is... Let's see here. Helsing Ghost 1, how's my new drawing tablet treating me? Truth be told, I need to clear a workspace to use it properly. I think goal number one of my personal arena should be to get my home under control. It's a mess right now. I still go to work physically, masks on all day, and then when I get home, it's usually remote training or Wednesdays I go to see my family or getting work on the next video. Unfortunately, I've neglected my home and need to put more energy into clearing space so I can draw on that marvelous tablet. I want to be worthy of this grand Cintiq gift. Bravery Does Stuff says that Elmo was OG. I don't remember Elmo growing up. I feel like he's a more recent addition than that. But I could be way off. And there's Nomo Ruiz. I'm doing well, and I needed your help with phonetical spelling earlier. It's just the way things are going. Now, let's see here. I need to get a little music going because, well, I get caught up in the drawing. I might not always talk, and I want you all to know that I'm doing okay and that the stream is still going. If I actually turn up the volume. Now, is this coming through? Ah, excellent. All right, so what am I up to here? Well, I want to get at least a little bit more work done for Iceberg's scene, and that means completing this panorama of the Ponyville train station. I want to have a wider shot because I want to have Ponyville's residents just acting loopy around the character. So that means drawing a little space. And I noticed something while looking at the screenshots here. This house. That looks really squished. It's like, why did they build it so narrow on this rather impressive tract of land? I wonder if that's where the station master lives. Oh, turn down my music again? Sure thing, man. How's that? Okay, Thomas Rever saying Elmo first appeared in 1980, which is when I was born. Bravery Does Stuff. 1980 is old. Yes, Bravery. It is. Bravery also says ponies are weird. I will not dispute that at all. So, this house has been vectored many times over, both in my work and others. So I copied this from a file made available by Bones Walbuck, who does fantastic vector art, but it's the wrong colors. Notice that the shadow falls on different sections. Oh, Maddie. 1980 is old. Considering that some of you, 1980 is not even close to the ballpark. So yeah, it's okay to say I'm old. I'm old. You know, Andrew Hager, I watched let's see here. I believe I've watched at least 2 of the 3 Puff the Magic Dragon movies. There was the original one, which is mostly based on the song. But then I also watched, what was it? Puff the Magic Dragon in the Land of Lies. That one was a little weirder. I'm not aware of a third one. I'm also not aware of what's up with you? What happens if I darken you up a little? Whoop. Okay. Now, how about this? Huh, that worked. I don't understand. So, question to y'all. How is the music sounding now? Too loud? Too quiet? The illustrious Q is here. Welcome, Q. Based on Q's, input, I checked out the Transformers Earthrise cartoon, which, much like War for Siege, really didn't wow me. I'm not feeling wowed, which is not how I want to how I want to talk about Transformers. I'd rather talk about excitement for Transformers My Little Pony crossover numero dos. Also, Trinary, good to see you in the chat. Oh, LB says it sounds a little loud. Okay, that's funny. Let's just bring it down a little. Well, Q, I don't know if I would say it stunk. It wasn't the most engaging, but there were things I liked. I liked the theme of what are you willing to do in war? As Megatron continues to become a true bad guy. In Siege, he's sort of a reluctant antagonist, but more and more you see him just going down that dark path, always justified by survival. I think that's an interesting approach to the character. Problem is that these acts usually involve him just standing there and talking and being gruff with those sexy pouty lips. Sexy pouty lips. And it's like, Megatron, why are you pouting so? Okay, I had to turn on right-clicking with my mouse, but I find that Apple mouses do not do well with secondary clicking. There's also a bit of a dramatic scene where Optimus is ready to kill Megatron, but is still asking for his forgiveness. Like, I have to do this to prevent terrible things, but I want you to forgive me for doing it. Wow. It's rather cordial of him. It's like dang Prime. But Transformers My Little Pony Part 2 coming out. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. Ah, River, you had a shipping problem because of your TF2 in-game ship. Can you elaborate? Were people... I don't know. I don't know who you ship. I mean, there's Spy and Demo Man? Oh, Demo Man. Let's see here. And I've given Mad Munchkin nightmares. Well, believe me, okay, I'll say this. At work today, we were working on a promo video, and one of the lines in said promo video was, "Make it wet." And I could not withhold a rather juvenile giggle, which got everyone else going. So, I think that script's going to change rather fast. Oh, good morning, Knox. Let's see here. Champ to stay wondering which cartoon, Popeye, Tom and Jerry, or Looney Tunes. I will always go the Looney Tunes route myself, followed by Tom and Jerry. I mean, pure slapstick at its quintessential. Popeye, I got no beef against. I just don't find it quite as funny. I did appreciate the one where he absolutely refused to be a bullfighter. I don't like bullfighting. Cherry Fluffbelly, I don't think I had a chance to see your speed paint of that's on YouTube. I appreciate the gift, but I'm afraid things get hectic and I didn't properly check it out. I'm sorry for that. All right, let's see here. Looney Tunes is best. Oh, Little Heart Studios, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Little Heart Studios. Happy birthday to you. Ooh, maybe I should say it like Dr. Weird. Happy birthday to you. Yes, I still enjoy Aqua Teens. Let's see here. Fox Maiden 739. If you had to pick your favorite Cartoon Network cartoons, which would it be? I'm assuming you mean like the cartoons, the stuff that was made exclusively for Cartoon Network. In which case, Samurai Jack, amazing, amazing work. I always fondly remember, I still remember the very first episode I ever saw. It was Jack and the Archers. And there was, 3 lines of dialogue for Jack? That's it? And yet they told a whole story. It was incredible. I thought it was, without question, one of the best cartoons. And it's funny, when I went back to my alma mater and dropped in on a video editing class to see how an old teacher was doing, someone in the class asked for a favorite cartoon, and I actually impressed the teacher by discussing Samurai Jack and its use of ambient noise and all that stuff. So, yeah, you can actually get through a class and win some points by talking about cartoons. Champ to stay. Do you know any other languages? This came up this week at work again. Hablo solo un poco español y mi español es muy mal. Tengo 4 años de escuela secundario, pero no entiendo mucho. I can get by, that's about it. I speak English, and bad Spanish, with just enough Japanese to annoy weeaboos. Oh, gomen nasai. And they hate me for it. And I laugh. Well, self-aware Snow, why is it that the Brony fandom and TF2 enjoys such overlap? I wish I had an answer. I can't really speak to demographics and, modeling of how we come to these things. But I think Pony, especially with all the references it lends itself to TF2. And then TF2 doing the prettiest unicorn certainly helped. Maybe they recognized and hopped on the bandwagon quickly. I don't know if we ever saw a TF2 Pony in the background. That would have been something to get both fandoms going, either in excitement or rage. But then again, I also point out it's hard to know where overlap stops because there are so many congruent fans. Case in point, I've seen Warhammer 40k fans, and Warhammer, as I've grown to appreciate, is almost the polar opposite from My Little Pony, the antithesis. My Little Pony, everything's solved with friendship and emotions. Warhammer, friendship is a myth, get a gun. That's their argument. And yet there are fans of both with a strong overlap. I find that quite fascinating. Let's see here. Cherry Fluffy Belly. Let's see here. Cherry, first off, the previous stream is still on my YouTube channel, but I've unlisted it and added it to a playlist of all my streams. I've been coached that it's good to keep your streams in one location and not have them flood your channel. It also encourages people to catch them live and then have a resource to watch it again, so it's not gone. When I'm not using bases for after the fact, I try to draw stuff by hand and then I draw it in person. Let's see here, real quick. Let me show you guys. I'll show you all a little something if I can. Let's see. Come on now. Let's see here. Oh gosh darn! I just looking through my files from way back then. Come on, computer, work with me here. Way back when I was first a fan of My Little Pony, I was working on some sci-fi ideas. At the time, I was also really smitten with Halo. So, I would draw things like this. You can guess it's very heavily inspired by the Forward Unto Dawn. So in this case, I sketched it out, but I really drew the line art in Illustrator, just straight lines. I didn't know half as much about Illustrator back then as I do now. And then I would fill it in Photoshop. So I may get back to doing some of that. Because, well, it's good to revisit fun ideas. So usually I try to draw by hand and then solidify it in Illustrator. I confess I don't have the same artistic hand drawing skills as folks like Mad Munchkin. So I compensate. I often think I'm more borderline architect with what I construct in Illustrator. Nintendo Switch Gamer Dude, am I a Trekkie? I guess it depends on your degree of Trekkie. I thoroughly enjoy the Star Trek shows, and they've been an important part of phases of my life. My parents and I would get together to watch Voyager, and it was a way to connect even in the midst of a busy week. And, you know, it's kind of funny when I watch SF Debris rag on Neelix. My parents adored Neelix. They thought he was just a sweet guy. I hear SF Debris' critique, but at the same time, I think there's also a disposition towards disliking that really influences the presentation. I think Neelix was a good guy at heart. It's just unfortunate he was introduced as, well, a con man at the beginning. So, and let's see. I admit, though, I haven't really checked out Discovery. The more recent Star Treks have not caught my eye as strongly. Preston, would I date Celestia or Luna? Honestly, look, I fanboy over Luna, but I don't really hold any dating illusions. How do I put this? I guess, though, if you asked me to choose, it would be Luna, because Celestia, funny enough, this is something I've wondered about her post-retirement. Celestia was the mother figure of Equestria, and a big part of the mother archetype is that she has denied herself the comfort of a personal relation in order to become mother to all. And Celestia, she did that. I do not question that for a moment. Now that she's retired, however, and the role is passed to Twilight, would Celestia now give herself time to maybe have some romantic relationships? I don't know. I'm not saying she has to in order to be fulfilled. You can be perfectly fulfilled and complete person on your own. But it's an interesting thing to consider. And what can I say? I do get mushy every now and again and again. Maddie. Neelix lost his family, fought in a war, was a lone drifter, and lost the love of his life, and yet is the most caring character in the show. Yes. One of my favorite examples of awesome Neelix moment is when B'Elanna is just having a terrible time, really trying to struggling to keep herself in check. And Neelix offers to be her punching bag. If she literally wants to come in and question his honor, his birthright, just unload, he won't get offended. He is offering to be a vent for her. And I don't doubt his sincerity for a moment. How many people would be that generous and kind? So yes, I have many positive things to say about Neelix. And while I understand that he can sometimes get a little too far over his skis and excitement, well, here's the thing. People who care can get overly excited. It's never... If you're looking for perfection, you're not looking for a real character. Oh, Preston, I would not put a hit out on anyone. No, not even in fiction. I would hire a hitman to throw a cream pie at someone. That is my kind of assignment. Of course, I would rather throw the pie myself. Let's see here. Darth Revan wondering, what are my favorite movies? Well, funny you said you took a Star Wars name, because the original Star Wars trilogy is one of my favorites. Especially The Empire Strikes Back. if only for the unique virtue of it doesn't feature bloody Tatooine. This far into the series and all these trilogies, I'm sick of Tatooine. Let's see here. Voyager, I thoroughly enjoyed. I haven't really ranked it. The Next Generation will always be my favorite Star Trek. That was the one I really got into, really loved. And like Jean-Luc Picard is my best captain. No disrespect to Kirk or others. No disrespect to Sisko or Janeway, but Picard is my number one. Crimson Rain. Hate desert planets, do we? I just hate that in a galaxy of potential, we keep going back to the planet defined by one topographical feature, and it's sand. Oh, I'm pulling my Vader. My Anakin. I hate sand. It's coarse. It gets everywhere. Ooh, maybe that voice will put Mad Munchkin to sleep. Thaddeus Risher, what is the hottest MLP Friendship is Magic take you have? My hottest take? I'm not entirely sure what that means. Like, just my most immediate reaction? Or perhaps the most outspoken opinion I have? Help me with the terminology here. I'm an old man. Well, indeed, bravery. I'm just working away at little things. Although I admit it's probably pretty boring to see me just going back and forth and changing the color on these things. So let me just finish up this window and we'll try something a little bit different. This is the thing. Maybe I would have been smarter if I had moved Yon House just to the left of its counterpart. They're starting to look pretty darn similar. But you see, right, yeah. So we do, yeah. Let's see. Oh, Darth Revan, you two weren't a fan of Dr. Pulaski yet. You know, even the actress admitted that I think she had the offer to continue, but even she could tell Pulaski just wasn't meshing with the TNG crew. Partly because, and this is unfortunate, as much as she could be a caring individual, they kept making her an antagonist to the other characters. She kept insulting Data. She kept butting heads with Picard. I think in trying to make her stand out as an independent character and make a splash as the newcomer, they never allowed her to just iron things out. And that's unfortunate. The most controversial opinion I've shared. My most controversial opinion of the show. I guess the most controversial opinion I have is that I don't, in No Second Prances, in that scene where Trixie is about to fire herself into the Manticore's mouth, and she's really calling on Starlight to help her out, a lot of folks see that as an analogy for suicide prevention. And I don't mean to diminish that, but I didn't have that interpretation. Mostly because I think something that important and serious would need ongoing addressing. It's not just it happened, you prevent it once and then that's that, everything's fine now. It needs more follow-up. I saw Trixie's actions as the ultimate expression of the show must go on. I saw it as her so committed to seeing this through no matter what. But I don't think she wanted the worst possible outcome. I think she just knew, I've pledged to do this, and if I've got nothing else, I will see this through. I realize that even that may sound like a very depressing topic, but basically she is committed to her craft. And so she was going to see it through no matter what. I was actually reminded of, I think you guys may have heard of the catch a bullet magic trick, which was actually revealed on an old 90s show, Secrets of Magic, how they do that trick so that you're not... I want to make this abundantly clear. The trick has nothing to do with actually catching a bullet in midair. It's all sleight of hand illusion. But several stage magicians have died during doing that trick because they modified the props to increase the danger. And honestly, Trixie's stunt reminded me of that trick. Oh, Crimson Rain, thank you for the donation. Greatly appreciated. Let's see here. So, that's all. I don't want to get too far into that because I also want to respect that a lot of people do see some analogies in that and they do want to express it. Whenever people talk about mental health in My Little Pony, I hesitate. Man, it's just hard to put into words. Let's say for a moment that someone looks at Maud or Mudbriar and they consider that might be a reflection of someone who might be on the spectrum. My thing is, I don't really want to debate, are they on the spectrum? I want to ask, how is their presentation help people understand that life? How can we gain a better insight by talking about these characters? If they can be a model or an expression, that's great. If you can find a way to better express an idea through these characters, that's more important to me than saying if they are or are not one thing. So, if you believe that Trixie was thinking about taking her own life, really talking about what's involved in that, what could lead up to it, what could influence, I think that's more important than trying to say yes, no. All right, Crimson Rain, you don't feel that Mudbriar and Maud quite mesh in that regard. Well, that's why I think it's important to have a dialogue. There was a great video I saw. It was related to Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. Such a silly word, Vrains. But the speaker talked about how the main character shows habits that could be associated with autism, in that he's often making lists and expressing them, but not really connecting to people. I really want to put this respectfully. He behaves in a way that is a bit atypical of what one would expect, but in line with this concept. He used the characters as an expression, and I think that is one of the best things you can do, is saying, here's how this can represent something. Not that it hardline is, but this is how it can be interpreted. This is how it can help you gain insight. That, I believe, is one of the most brilliant ways a show can be utilized to a higher degree, and to hopefully serve as a means of insight. Oh my goodness, oh man, I was really ranting there. Blue Griffin, I definitely think that there was a moment where Trixie said, oh, what? Well, here. Oh! I'm gonna die. I believe it was when she covered her eyes. Alrighty, so work continues on this. The ponies are waving hello to my vector. Hello, ponies. Alright, but let's see here. Last musical I've seen from Champ to Stay. Okay, this is the point where Sweetie Bloom would come in and say, you should have seen Hamilton by now. But in truth, the last musical I truly saw, especially in person, was The Book of Mormon. Right after BronyCon, I hopped on a train and went to New York City with some Benny Hall buds. And honestly, I hadn't ever really walked around New York City, and one of the highlights of the trip was getting to see The Book of Mormon on Broadway. And here's the funny thing about Book of Mormon. Oh boy. Again, I must choose my words very carefully here. I see it offering critiques of the structure of religion, but I also see it affirming the idea of belief. It pokes fun at an institution, and, well, I think institutions can be fair game, within reason, or at least in terms of offering a critique. But the idea of belief is something incredible, and I'm glad that they treated it with such respect. Oh, Darth Revan, you saw The Lion King on Broadway. Now that, I imagine that was an incredible sight. Preston, what would I look like as Boba Fett? Really, just take the chicken from the Family Guy Star Wars specials and apply a little bit of the Silver-Quill charm, and bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, Silver-Quill's Boba Fett. Now, let's see here. Sorry, champ, I don't yet have that comedy sound effect. Well, okay, I honestly just keep putting off looking for an online sound effect program. On the list of, oh gosh, I gotta get this done, I'm afraid that's been rather low on the priorities. Let's see here. I saw an earlier question. Ah, yes, from Enderpup. Favorite mythical creature. Okay, one would think I would say hippogriffs. But while I've gained an appreciation for all that they represent, I actually didn't know all of that when I first chose this OC. Dragons have always been my favorite mythical creature. They are, well, they're everything. They can be founts of wisdom, they can be forces of destruction, they can be the best and the worst all in one. They can be so many, adapt to so many different biomes. You know, a prized possession I still have is part of Todd McFarlane's Dragon series, a set of figurines released in the 90s. And I had just a few. One was an ice dragon, not made of ice, but adapted to live on the ice. Another was an aquatic dragon, which looked like it would be perfectly at home in a coral reef. Beautifully designed, and that's what I love about dragons. They can be adapted to anywhere. Coolest horse in cartoons, champ to stay, no question, 3030 of Brave Star. Not only is he a trusted steed, he's a fighting partner and best friend, and he can transform from quadruped to biped, and he likes to shoot things with his rifle Sarah Jane. Actually, you know, it's funny. There is a very brief scene in the Brave Star opening movie where 3030 fires a gun and blows the ride out from under an enemy. That enemy is a pig wearing a Confederate uniform in space, and there was a figure of him. That was the only time I think he ever appeared in the cartoon. And if you're going to feature it that way, I'm okay with that. You know, forgive me for getting political for just a moment, but I loved watching the Dukes of Hazzard growing up. And at the time, I didn't think anything of that flag. But I don't think, after what has happened in our country, I can't even look at that flag as anything but a terrible symbol now. Even the Dukes of Hazzard can't change the perception there. I think one of the actors posted a video saying, should it have been removed? And at this point in life, I will say yes. So that's all I'm going to say on that, but I felt it needed to be said. So, let's see here. God King Tatters. I just figured out you stream in Twitch, and I was wondering who you were talking to. Oh, sorry, Tatters. I'm using Restream to go to both YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So that's why you hear me talking to, well, multiple commentators. Yes, Maddie, if you can get some sleep, then I wish you the best rest and a wonderful weekend. But don't be staying up late on my account. And yes, but it does stand. I simultaneously want to have you back on these streams to catch up with you in person, but I also want you to get some rest. Oh, this duality! Now, let's see here. Thaddeus, what show have I watched as a child that has aged badly? Oh, man. Everyone, one of the hardest things about... I grew up in the 80s, which in many ways I still consider sort of a cartoon renaissance. A lot of... I'll say it right now. The cartoons airing these days are of such a high quality of animation and characterization. They put a lot of what I watched as a kid to shame. At the same time, I don't think we'd have that if not for the cartoons of the 80s. They started the trend. At the same time, time has really made me aware of what I was unaware of as a child. The stereotypes, the poor representation, the poor expression of ideas. I mean, I said, if you want to see a cartoon that I think aged rather badly, but could be properly reinterpreted for a better presentation, Inhumanoids. Check out my Inhumanoids review on my channel. That show, watching it with my friends, we watched it together, and all of us agreed, wow, that was really sexist. I mean, wow. In fact, it's funny, on that video, people are saying, why are you raising issue with the problems from 30 years ago? Well, here's the thing, folks. The problems from 30 years ago are still influencing us today. There's no expiration date. And realizing what I absorbed unconsciously as a kid really helps me be more aware of what's going on today. And I say that with much embarrassment for not knowing at the time. Let's see here. All right, good night, Maddie. Now let's see. What were there other shows? Man, randomly this week I caught a Fat Albert clip. And I am still so disappointed and just heartbroken of who Bill Cosby really was. So it's kind of strange. Fat Albert might still be might actually be a better Aesop story than many, but it can't have aged well because of what happened. And so this is the thing. Ideas are immortal. They can find expression in many ways. But sometimes the expressions can sour. Me TV Champ to Stay? I don't know. I haven't watched that. Oh, Darth Revan, you are referring to an episode of Brave Star. Consider the drug episode where I mentioned actually has a kid OD. And yes, that was a very powerful episode because it showed a very real consequence. Now here's the funny thing. Same idea, different expression was an episode of Captain Planet, where in true Captain Planet fashion, they took an idea and dialed it too far to an extreme. A whole mass of people got addicted and became basically a zombie horde for one of the main villains. And one of the people who got addicted was a Planeteer cousin who also died of the drug. And it's supposed to really impact, but here's the thing. That Planeteer, Linka, was just fine the next episode. There's no lingering impact. Brave Star, because this was a guest star, and we saw his best friend weeping for the loss, and we never see him again, it leaves an impact because I feel like something is genuinely lost. It was a much, much more powerful statement. I've sometimes thought about doing a compare and contrast. Oh, Thaddeus, there were many things that scared me as a child. My imagination goes cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what? I'll tell you something funny. One of the things that freaked me out as a kid was an episode of The Real Ghostbusters where Peter Venkman gets possessed. And you actually hear him... Normally, the smart aleck character is actually struggling for control of his own body, and it's not played for laughs. It's actually quite frightening. I think that was where I first developed a horror at the thought of losing control of your own body, of having something possess you. And that's why, to me, the Borg are scary. The Flood are scary from Halo. Let's see. What are some other... Okay, even my issues with Cadence's love spell kind of stem from this fear of losing control of myself, the death of the self, and made a prisoner in your body. So yeah, that freaked me out, even though it was a kid's cartoon, fun, played for humor. Let's see here. What were cartoons I've watched that did age well? Well, Brave Star, I think, has... oh, I'm sorry, I haven't even quoted. This was from Matt Sutzman. Cartoons that did age well. I would say that that Brave Star did age well. Transformers is a mixed bag. It's evolved. There are many things, elements that have not aged well, and yet the franchise, I think, has. What were some other cartoons? I'm actually looking at my Exo Squad. That was a 90s cartoon that was actually rather revolutionary in my eyes. A fantastic bit of sci-fi. Of course, Animaniacs, the Batman Beyond, those aged fantastic. Evangelion 007. What is my opinion of a cartoon that has tonal issues? Could you elaborate? I'm always want to be clear on these. Do you mean like a cartoon that's trying to be funny but ends up really disturbing? All right. Well, while I await clarification, Sun Tzu, I appreciate the compliment that I've had success on YouTube. The funny thing is, I feel like I've actually been on the decline on YouTube. Views are down. YouTube is unsubscribing people from my channel like crazy. At one point, I was on the cusp of 120,000. Now I expect by next week you'll see my channel dip to, well, it's going to dip below 117,000. I don't always understand. But then I remind myself of something. I didn't start this channel with popularity as the goal, and I'm putting too much stock in numbers. One of the best things about YouTube is expression, and perhaps a chance to connect to people on a more human level than, say, a message board. There are risks with that, of course, but it's still, I think, a positive. So my advice to any future YouTuber is several things. One, work on something you love. I've grown so tired of seeing the vitriol-filled reviewer, the ones who are just mad at something and just want to talk about how terrible it is. After a while, I get that can be entertaining and even get an energetic reaction, but there comes a point where you say, okay, I understand you don't like this, but why are you still watching it then? I'm more a fan of a positive or insightful approach. Secondly, make several videos in advance. YouTube and an audience, I think, really do favor if you have a consistent upload schedule. Something I never mastered. And so I think you stand better odds if you have several episodes in the chamber before you start, or before you post your first video. Just have several waiting. And I think it's good, one, to have sort of a duality. Don't beat yourself up if you see like an editing mistake or a glitch in an episode. You know, especially if you're working on your own, there's only so much one person can do. At the same time, I think it's very healthy to have a certain level of dissatisfaction that makes you want to try for even more. That makes you want to strive to make the next video better than the last. So, oh, Bravery, we'll see you when you get back. Darth Revan, you're talking about Ultra Instinct with Goku. One video I intend to get posted this year is my long ago promised review of Battle of Gods, because that was a fun movie and really fun to see sort of a different take on a Dragon Ball quote-unquote antagonist. Though I would say Beerus is actually the true protagonist of that show, of that movie. Anywho, but back to Su's question. Any other advice I would have? Make friends outside of what you do. I've been very happy to know people like Mad Munchkin and Lightning Bliss and Josh Scorcher and Sweetie Bloom, all these great folks who made reviewing their thing. But I'm equally thankful that I got to know artists in the fandom like... Man, why am I having trouble remembering screen names at the moment? I've met so many... Hungry Soma, there we go. Hungry Soma, who I haven't gotten to chat with in a while. And also, especially my friends like Grand Paws and the Commentaries Magic Crew who talk about cards. My friends who are big into vending and actually make a life, a full career out of vending at conventions. They do fantastic and creative work. I'm glad I didn't get bogged down in just sticking to the reviewing clique. So if you have the fortune of becoming popular on YouTube, seek out people beyond your sphere of expertise. I think you'll become more enriched as a person as a result. Goodness, I have been spending a lot of time on this here bridge. I feel like I need to abridge this bridge. Oh yes, trying to Igor and Sky Railroads, Snuggle Trumpet, View. Let's see here. I know I'm probably forgetting a lot of folks. Forgive me. Like I say, it's been a full week. Let's see here. Have you ever been in a hot air balloon? No, I've not. I have witnessed them at shows, but I don't think I've ever gotten in one. Or if I did, it was so long ago that I've just plumb forgot. This is somewhat unrelated, but thinking about, well, if I haven't ran a hot air balloon, when the vaccine is widely available and people and we have confirmation that it's safe to be a bit more adventurous outside, there is apparently an indoor skydiving place where I live. I don't know if it's still open, but that sounds fascinating. Maybe a good way to build up to it. Basically, it's just a very powerful wind tunnel that lifts you up and suspends you, so it creates the sensation of skydiving without... I don't know if I'm ready to literally take that leap just yet. Let's see here. Bravery, welcome back. And yes, puns, always puns. Loco de Stars. Funny that you're talking about Gilgamesh. Well, in my case, I'm having ponies on these ropes, no fighting required. But to forge an unexpected connection between Gilgamesh and... Actually, wait, I should even confirm if you're talking about the same Gilgamesh. I'm talking about the historical Gilgamesh. I think Dragon Ball Broly, that movie, was surprisingly similar thematically to the Epic of Gilgamesh. And I would very much love to discuss that. Let's see here. Thaddeus, what TV trope do you hate the most? Do I hate the most? Yeah, man. I think the trope of trapped in a place where you settle your differences, I've seen that done a lot, and honestly, I find that one's been done so much I'm less thrilled by it. I would rather find a different way to settle differences or bring realization. Maybe, okay, love MASH. Love watching that show. And I remember Hawkeye. He actually, folks who know MASH know that Hawkeye was, the Joker of the group. He irreverent, really loved to challenge authority, and also just hit on every woman. But in one episode, he actually realized just how poorly he treated them as professionals, as colleagues, until he watched his sort of rival, Charles Winchester III, complaining about a nurse, and he saw the worst of himself in Charles. That's way better than if you just had him locked in a room with another character, having them hash out their differences, in my eyes. Let's see here. Champ, wondering, what is your favorite holiday made up in TV or movies? Well, I am a sucker for the Muppet Christmas Carol. I watch that and I'm instantly in the Christmas mood. I love it. I also really love the Discworld Hogfather adaptation. I thought that was wonderfully done. In fact, that's one of my favorite holiday themes, because it too, bringing it back to South Park and the Book of Mormon, it too talks about how the idea of belief is so powerful and vital to the human condition. It will still poke fun at institutions or expressions of belief, which is, that's their freedom, right? But at the same time, they honor the concept of belief. And that means a lot to me. Let's see here. Pog? Right, Enderpup, you're not trying to bring back a PogChamp, are you? I still don't know what a PogChamp is. Someone explain to me. Darth Revan, his favorite TV trope is a father to his men, and that's part of why I love MASH. Sherman T. Potter. What an awesome guy. What an awesome commander. He could be just, how do I put it? He could roll with anything. He could be a stern commander to where even Hawkeye and Pierce, the two comedians, wait, Hawkeye is Pierce. No, Hawkeye and BJ would respect him even as they thumbed their nose at authority. They never wanted to disrespect him because he was not a do as I say, not as I do commander. He was very human. I love it. And hey, as much as I point out that Charles Winchester was sort of the antagonist, he was a far cry better than Frank Burns. Even Winchester had very, very human moments. Especially, I love him when there's a patient, a recovering soldier who has a stutter, and all of his squad mates, even his commanding officer, are insulting him, making fun of him, blaming him for an accident that was not his fault in the slightest. And Winchester calls the commander aside and makes it very clear, if you harass my patient one more time, I will make sure your harassment is noted in your record, and it will hound you for the rest of your career. And the officer tries to speak out, and Winchester just cuts him off. Do you understand me? I cheered for him so hard in that moment. It's only at the end of the episode, I'm going to spoil this, forgive me, we learn that Charles has a sister with a stutter. And his goal, because he loved his sister so much, that love carried over to encouraging the young soldier and making sure he felt validated as a person. So, I find tonight I'm talking about positive messages in media. And I want to champion that as much as I can. I've grown... part of the reason I gave up on primetime is that I saw an awful lot of cynicism. I would much rather have shows that celebrate the positive. Not ignore the negative. The folks I celebrate in MASH couldn't show their best unless there was someone showing their worst. But at the end of the day, it's very often I just see the cynical take, especially in comedy. Let's see here. 117 War Spartan. Who is your favorite villain in G1 Transformers? Also, War Spartan is also a fellow Luna fan. Much appreciated. Let's see here. I'm going to say Starscream. Because here's the thing, folks. As sad as I was when Optimus Prime died, Transformers really changed when Starscream died. Because he was always that element that undermined the Decepticons. He was always the thing that made them more than just your... There were a lot of bad guys, but there weren't as many self-sabotaging bad guys as Starscream. Now, somewhat at an opposite end of that is Destro of G.I. Joe. He actually had a sense of honor. He was the counterbalance to many a Saturday morning or afternoon villain back in the day. Because, in a weird way, he did live by a code, and you don't expect that from villains. I suppose Storm Shadow deserves similar praise. They were on the wrong side, and yet they could sometimes be more noble than even the heroes. Let's see here. Norman, good to see you. I'm doing well, but as I've been telling good folks, it's been a full week. So, I'm eager for, well, maybe just a little rest. Much needs doing. Let's see, I seem to have undone my hard work with the party favor's leg. You know what? I'm afraid this is taking too long. Did I happen to... I have so many comics of, or drawings of characters walking. But I really need to condense it all into one file, so I can easily reference, say, a pony running, a pony walking. Let's see here. Let me just pull up a Clutterstep comic real quick, because I'm confident I've certainly drawn Clutterstep walking quite a bit. Oh, no, my drawings. Princess Tears. Oh, Gojalines91, you gotta head out. Have a good night. Thanks for dropping by. If I did it... Okay, both Darth Revan and Crimson Rain are saying they'd love to see me review MASH of all things. You both have intrigued me. I don't... Usually I contain myself to cartoons. I haven't really considered doing live action stuff. But if you genuinely like it, if you like hearing my thoughts on it, then, well, I certainly would not be against it. So, this takes me back. Princess Tears, one of my earliest creative efforts in the fandom. And I've always been very pleased that folks enjoyed it. I know not everyone goes for the OC canon, but heck, I even like Clutter and Twilight. But see, just like that, I can adapt this much faster to party favor. Here we go. As I have dangling sentences. Let's see here. Oh, Crimson, you're right. I did review Garo. I did celebrate the live action. Funny enough, I think most people will now know Garo through the animated series, but I'll always love the live action. Actually, okay, quick story. When my friend first introduced me to it, there's a scene where the heroine goes to meet a character. I don't want to give away their identity. But I say, oh, that must be the main head villain. And my friend looks at me and it's like, why do you think that? I said, with hair like that? That was when I introduced the concept of follicle profiling, which I made up just there on the spot. But turned out I was right. Of course, this was back in the day before my hair thinned out, so I guess I'm a victim of my own judgment now. Although, if I'm into follicle profiling, what do you say of someone who does not have the hair? Oh, they're an enigma wrapped in a mystery. Mysterious. Ah. Yes, Crimson Rain, follicle profiling. You see by someone's hair, oh, that must be a main villain. With hair that spiky, they've got to become a protagonist. Oh, that hair's covering one eye. What are they hiding? I think that's why so many people assume Celestia was a troll. One eye was always covered like a pirate. You wonder, Celestia, what? Sorry, Preston, but I'm not gonna work on turning Naysay into Frollo. Unfortunately, my plate is just too full with other things. This is for Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight, which must go up later this evening. And I'm putting a tremendous effort into just one panel, but sometimes that's the way of it. If I find that it's demanding more time than I can muster, maybe I'll do another guest commentary episode. Let's see here. Yep. Oh yeah, this is a weird bug. Apparently this is being heavily reported in the Illustrator community. You might notice I've drawn a mask. This is meant to make part of the eye invisible. But as you note, it isn't doing that. Now, but if I nudge it, just to the left, boop, there. It works, and I have to nudge it back. I don't know why. It's kind of annoying, because I don't like to nudge my own work out of place on purpose. But what else am I to do? What, I ask you all? Let's see here. Champ, have I ever come up with a movie idea? I'm afraid my ideas for stories always seem to go into full-length series. A movie on its own... What would be a good movie on its own? Or an idea I've had. Actually, well, man, even that idea turned into a series. I've loved the idea of somewhat in the vein of the Harry Potter craze and all the multiple versions that came with it. You had Harry Potter, then came Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Oh gosh, what is not His Dark Materials? It's a younger story. I'm sorry, a story aimed at a younger audience, but it deals with a kid named Arthur dealing with the house that is basically the center of the universe, and he faces Mr. Monday, Lord Tuesday, Lady Wednesday, Commander Thursday. Dang it, what was the name of that series? So, man, I've distracted myself with my own bad memory. I love the idea of having someone from our world having to navigate a place called the Dream Castle, which is where the collective creativity manifests into dreams. And it's through those dreams that mankind is nurtured, but it's also where your own memories, your own traumas can be made manifest. Andrew Hager, I don't think it's Arthur and the Invisibles, although maybe I should actually look that up. Garth Nix, LB308, you got it. Garth Nix wrote it. And Christian trying to deliver a fatality, but you assume I have a soul. Ah, didn't think that through, did you? Let's see here. Thaddeus Fisher, what is the most underrated What's the most underrated animated series I've witnessed? Either Brave Star, because, well, I've discovered so many things I really love about it. But I feel it never really got the full attention it deserved. Or, again, Exo Squad, a remarkable bit of storytelling for its time. And ended on a cliffhanger season finale that was never resolved, because that is how all 90s cartoons ended. At least in my memory. Very, very frustrating. I get frustrated by dangling stories in which I'm heavily invested, you know? Now, let's see here. Well, I've used one walking pose, and that was just for good old party favor. Let's save before I do something stupid. Oh, Trinary, I remember the Pirates of Dark Water. That was a lot of fun. Of course, it too did not get a proper ending. Neither did Jace and the Wheeled Warriors. They were on a quest to reunite Jace with his father through a galaxy at war, and lo and behold, they never resolved that. So frustrated. Oh, Crimson Rain, thank you for another donation. My goodness. You folks are going to spoil me. Oh, well, hey, at least Sonic Sat AM Trinary gave us a really good ship in Sonic and Sally. Probably one of the best cartoon ships in my eyes. Anywho. Boop, 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 boop. What is the most frustrating series finale I've seen? The most frustrating finale? Well, let's see. I mean, Dinosaurs had the most heartbreaking ending. You know, Alf might be the most frustrating because it not only ended on a really, really dark cliffhanger. Alf, this alien who's been living with this Earth family and just sort of been a wisecracker, it ends with him being surrounded by the U.S. government and basically being imprisoned as an extraterrestrial for study. And then they introduced this rather terrible TV movie that's supposed to resolve the series, but it doesn't feature any resolution with the family. How frustrating is that? For all I know, within this fictional story, the family spends the rest of their days believing Alf is some sort of terrible test subject. Yeah, that did not go well at all. Let's see here. War Spartan, I have not seen Princess Guinevere and the Jewel Riders. I think I've heard of it, though. There we go. LB308. You got it. Keys to the Kingdom by Garth Nix. I've read the whole series, and I thought it was wonderfully creative. Darker. In fact, I'll say, given the target age range, much darker than I would have expected, but I kind of appreciate that all the more. I think it's actually okay to introduce kids to dark stories, provided you... I'll put it... We're not going for Warhammer 40k grimdark. We're just saying life isn't always easy. But I celebrate the characters like Arthur who persevere through it. Man, that is one thick leg. Let's skin that. Oh dear, looks like I'm breaking it. Yitter. Kung Fu Little Heart Studios. Have you seen the Kung Fu Panda movies? The second one is your favorite. I agree. I have seen Kung Fu Panda, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a wonderful series. One of the things I especially appreciate is how Po physically transforms between movies. That he is never going to be... He's still going to be heavy set, but he's actually leaner. He's improved himself, but he's not, a complete 180. But yes, I agree. I think Kung Fu Panda 2 was the best because of the villain, who was awful, but in a weird way vulnerable or human. I especially love when he's reminiscing about playing on the floor next to his father's throne before he throws that throne out the window. And I am just full of spoilers tonight. Oy. Evangelion 007. What do you think of the scorching the franchise and run trope? Pardon me one sec as I look that up. Scorching the franchise and run. I've mostly known... Let's see here. A writer-producer has created a franchise, but they don't own the legal rights to what will happen. They want to stop it, so they basically torture it and run. They kill off everyone they possibly can. Ah, the classic struggle of over intellectual property and creativity. You made the story. Shouldn't you have the right to say how it ends? I understand that. Offhand, I don't know many examples of this. Funny, I was talking about Sonic because I remember Archie Comics struggled with ownership rights, which led to a rather messy reboot. But offhand, I can't recall many. You know, I come in at it from two angles. I respect that a creator feels that they should have some creativity, control over the characters they created, the show they created, and where it goes. At the same time, as a fan, killing off the characters out of spite or just to give a middle finger to the people who are trying to take control, unfortunately, I feel like the fans are a casualty in that, and I'm not a fan. Let's see here. Hannah Nicola, did you wear glass when you read the books? I always wear glasses. I am nearsighted, and so I rely on glasses pretty much all the live long day. So yes, I wear glasses whenever I read the books, except audiobooks, obviously. Oh, but even then I'm wearing glasses. Although I will tout a personal triumph today. I finished reading A Fire Upon the Deep, a book that I have tried several times to get into, but it really wasn't until I did an audiobook that I could see it through start to finish. It's a excellent story, an incredibly imaginative tale, but because it's so innovative, it's actually a little hard to understand and keep everything straight. So having an audiobook actually helped me process things mentally better. Enderpup, why not have silverware glasses? I have in certain scenes, including when he's reading a book. But I guess in some ways I think mentally it's a differentiation between me and the character I'm portraying. I wear glasses, he does not. There's at least some little difference to remind myself, hey, don't make this character you 24/7. Okay, what I'm drawing right now is Party Favor and Double Diamond across this. Doesn't Nightglider look just a little proud? It's like, oh, you poor ground pounders. That's not how I'm going to leave it, however. That would not be very friendly. And while I don't know a lot about Nightglider, I don't believe that she'd be so flippant. Yeah, actually, I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to know more about Nightglider and Party Favor and Double Diamond after the show. Sugar Belle. I think she and Big Mac are an adorable couple. Glad we got to see a wedding episode between them. But what about the rest of them? I've always been a little surprised they didn't get more return appearances. Oh, and again, there's that dang... This glitch. This glitch really bugs me. Boop. Boop. But I don't understand why it's even happening. Let's see here. Darth Revan. No one... I don't believe anyone has ever in My Little Pony said ground pounder. It's usually a semi-insult I hear between Air Force and, well, any ground force. Oddly enough, the first time I really heard that used in such a way was a Robotech video game. Which also had a bit of a frustrating ending, but it killed the main character. And look, okay, I played that game back in 2000, so I'm not going to apologize for that spoiler. It's been 20 years. I mean, there comes a point where you can't say, "Oh, spoilers." No. Someone tells me what Rosebud really is, I'm not going to get mad at them. You tell me what happened in last week's Mandalorian, I'm going to be a little disappointed because I haven't seen any of the Mandalorian yet. But that was a week ago. Let's see. Oh, Champ, what do you think is the hardest part of math? You know, for a very brief time, I thought I thought about studying math full time because I enjoyed the absolute of it. It was like either yes or no, pro or con. You either got the right number or you didn't. There's no middle ground. But the hardest part about math, I think, is much like life, holding those little details in your mind. Sometimes say the order of I don't know. Has anyone heard the mental exercise, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally"? It's meant to coach you through how to handle a math problem in terms of priority. Parentheses, it's not expansion. You know, like if you square something, expression. Man, I'm out of practice. Please excuse M multiples, D division, dear Aunt addition, and subtraction. You're supposed to tackle things in that order. That could be a little hard to remember, especially since exponent, that's what I'm trying to say. So I think the hardest thing about math is keeping those extra rules in your head. But honestly, that's true of many things in life. Keeping all the little details is one of the hardest things. Some people are better suited to it than others, come by it naturally. That doesn't mean you can't improve with practice, but let's acknowledge that sometimes people take to a topic faster than others. Exponents. Yes, thank you, MLP Disney Lover. I appreciate you. Honestly, I wasn't that good at philosophy for a long time either. It's something I've learned more in recent years. But for a time, I was actually, I guess, You know, I'm not sure if this is the reason. Sort of studying myself. The same time I was thinking about that and sort of treasuring the absolutism of math was shortly after the 9/11 attack. And it may be that looking for something sure in a very uncertain time held greater appeal to me. So, but then that might just be a shot in the dark or forming a connection between two things that weren't really connected, as our minds are wont to do, especially mine. Space Boba. You have a marvelously unique font for your screen name. I'm drawing a panel for Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight, one that's a bit more complicated than others. But sometimes I want that challenge. At the same, you ever have that duality where you want to just be done with something, but at the same time, there's a part of you that absolutely refuses to just do things half-hearted? Darth Revan, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm sure there are many people who, one, share that struggle, but also people who just understand. Yeah, there have been times where math has just been so frustrating. And So yeah, I totally empathize with anyone who feels put off by math. At the same time, there was a point where I kind of understood its appeal. Enderpup, how would Silver-Quill wear shoes? On his feet. Oh, but he doesn't have feet. Aha! Probably on his hind legs. The benefit of digits allows him to have gloves. Let's see here. War Spartan, what did I think of Starscream in Transformers Cybertron when he fights Primus? I confess I've only seen clips of that. How did I put Starscream in Cybertron? His ambition was probably greater than in many other Transformers series, because you've gotta be driven super extreme to want to literally fight God. Especially when God is wielding moons as maces. Or was it morning stars? So one can certainly appreciate the chutzpah, or the ability in his pursuit. He was willing to be out in front with his ambition even more than Starscreams that would follow. Oh, and Nightglider is improperly layered here. You can see this, well, zoom in so you can all see. You can see that this texturing on the sky is brightening her up. Let's put her in the foreground. Darth Revan, I too, how do I put it? Ambition is something I enjoy in characters, at the same time that ambition is contrasted against a morality. It's blind or naked ambition without any limits that I find distasteful. Great example, and another character from a live-action show I adore, Alan Shore of Boston Legal. I know he was also in a show called The Practice, but I never got to see that. It was more in... Boston Legal was more his show. He was a man obsessed with winning, and would often take very outrageous efforts to win. At the same time, at the end of the day, he would also check himself and be like, am I really okay with what I just did? Sometimes he'd say yes, sometimes he'd say no, and, well, you never saw him do it again. Now, let's see here. Here we are. Champ to Stay. Do you think the Equestrian Rail Network owes more than just the Friendship Express and that... owns more than just the Friendship Express and that train in Over a Barrel? Well, here's a question. Was Cadence's train, with those horrible squealing brakes, was that property of the Crystal Empire, or a gift, or something from the Equestrian Transit Service? Because it seems so poorly designed, I really want to believe it was sort of an ad hoc gift to the princess of the newly restored Crystal Empire. Otherwise, they really... Why would you put crystals on your brakes? Why? But I'm sure that there are probably... Oh, yeah. God, which was it? The name of the episode where Applejack leaves to go on the farm, and her friends have to go to find her in Dodge Junction. I feel like the last roundup. They featured just a two-pony cart on that. Oh, Champ, of course I wear a mask out in public. Absolutely. In fact, it was early on in 2020, even now, when I see people walking around without a mask, or they pulled their mask down around their chin, I feel this terrible outrage. I think there's still a misconception floating around that the mask is to block the germs from entering. It would have to be airtight to really succeed in that. The mask is there to catch anything coming out of ourselves. It's wearing a mask is you showing care for your fellow human being. Not wearing a mask, in my eyes, is a moral failing. And I understand that there are people who have conspiracies or don't buy into this. Well, this is not something where we can agree to disagree. Wear a mask. Even if you think it's baloney, wear a mask. Oh dear. So, yeah, I'm getting on my high horse again. Okay, well, gosh, it took me a while to get that going. The thing is, I like to go beyond. So here you kind of see an outline of this entire rope bridge. I could adapt this bridge to other pieces. I can adapt that cliff to other pieces. I sunk a lot of time into this one panel, but that one panel can be used in a variety of ways to save time down the road. That's my grand theory. So, won't need that. But, now, once again, I've occupied everyone's time with this goal. Don't want to give away too much of what I'm working on next for this good night, which I hope to have posted before midnight, Mountain Standard Time. Now, moving forward. MLP Disney Lover, you use Inkscape. I invested in Illustrator, but I hear that they are very comparable. My one regret is that, well, this might be more Adobe. They're not good at exchanging files. Like, you get an SVG file that was made in Inkscape, and Illustrator does not want to interpret it. It'll just mess things up, and you have to sort of finesse it into something workable. Very disappointing, especially when the vector community makes so many things available. Now, there was a question, I think it was from Champ. Who was the best human companion to the Autobots? Again, there's actually quite the wealth. I honestly feel that Spike enjoyed some of the greatest character growth over the technically 4 seasons of Transformers. At the same time, he started off as usually just needing rescuing, so that's a bit of a burden. By the end, he was saving the Transformers themselves. Twice, at least. I did like Kicker in Energon. I might be in the minority on that one. But I will say, I like Jack. At first, I thought he was going to be a Sam Witwicky ripoff or proxy from the Bay movies. But Jack of Transformers Prime really stepped up and became a hero in his own right. And I think so highly of him for that. I also love the scene where an amnesic Optimus Prime is being presented with a fragment of the Matrix of Leadership to restore his thoughts. And he looks at Jack and he says, "Are you sure that I'm worthy?" And Jack just says, "You have no idea." The respect he showed to Optimus really came through in that episode. And I loved his relation to RC. Trinary, I'm with you that Nico, she was really frustrating at the beginning because in a weird way she wasn't taking this seriously. It was just a game to her. But there came later episodes where the impact of the war really hit home with her. A scene where Bulkhead, her best friend, is borderline offline, and she's taking it hard. I mean, she is just fully depressed, and even getting revenge on the Decepticon who hurt him. She says, "Why don't I feel better?" That was powerful. Oh, Hannah. I will call you just Hannah. Apologies that I make a butchery of people's names. Sorry, Prism Shard. I have not yet seen Cobra Kai. I did watch Jeremy John's reactions to it because he does. I love his energy and positivity. He doesn't have to throw anything down to make a good video, which is part of what I enjoy about him. But Jeremy Johns seemed to really love it. I should watch it. I really should. Pardon me one sec, I'm just looking up... Ah, yes. From a video, I am in need of... Where's the crystal heart in all this? Did I not draw the crystal heart? Did I not draw the crystal heart? Phooey! I didn't draw the crystal heart. Shame on me. I thought I had that ready and available. I kind of need it for what I'm going to do next. Darth Revan, you too are a Prime fan. I was so afraid it... Look, apologies to anyone who really enjoys the Michael Bay movies. I understand that they helped bring Transformers back into the modern spotlight. At the same time, they're my least favorite Transformers. I stopped after Revenge of the Fallen. So when Prime came out, and it seemed to be very heavily influenced by those movies, I was afraid it would be awful. No, it was an excellent Transformers series. So I'm very happy to have been wrong about that. Pardon me one sec, I must claim a reference for the Crystal Heart, because I am going to need it. I'm rather surprised I don't have a vector of that. Well, things come up every now and again and again. Here we go. Crystal heart, crystal heart. Here's a crystal heart. Oh, oh. Let's see here. Yes, I accept cookies. Yes, I'll be a part of the human Sentai pad. That's really the way this all goes. Saving that. I should give proper shout out. The person... Oh my goodness gracious. You're asking me to promote that? To say that screen name? No, thank you. I am posting a link to this Crystal Heart vector in the chats for both Twitch and YouTube, because I cannot, for the life of me, figure out how to pronounce this screen name. And I will just make a mockery of it. Again, as I am wont. So let's see here. Prime, let's see here. Trinary. Prime was the best Transformers animated series since Beast Wars, maybe since G1. I agree, but at the same time, I'm not going to dismiss the enjoyable energy that was Transformers animated. In fact, sorry, I didn't list her as the best, as a best human companion, because it turned out, spoiler, she's not fully human. But she was adorable, and she did help the team. So I enjoyed her as well. Okay. Whoop. Not you, not you, not you. You. Here we are. So, bit twofold. I'm actually going to need Crystal Heart in multiple directions anyway. So let's consider this something of a speed run in vectoring, if I can. How fast can he do it? So, again, please check the chat for the Crystal Heart vector. How does one pronounce that? Chersnek97. Cherzenek. Oh, man. I appreciate all the creative screen names people put out there, but you really challenge my pronunciation skills. I do not know if I can articulate or speak phonetically well enough. So, you may ask, why is he vectoring the Crystal Heart? What are you going to do with the Crystal Heart? Well, in truth, I'm not going to be using the Crystal Heart specifically. Next week is going to see the release of MLP number, what is it, 94? And that is the start of exploring how Cheese, Sandwich, and Pinkie Pie eventually married and had a family of their own. So, it features shipping. Naturally, I am drawn like a moth to a flame. So I thought it would be funny to start off a video with Silver-Quill barging in to Ponyville and just looking to ship ponies left and right. And how will he ship them? By having shipping bolas. So I need 3, I'm going to make them red hearts to serve as the weights on a bola, which I will use to ensnare couples. Oh, Penny writes, you are taking notes. Should I talk things through? I do. So a person suggested that I make videos instructing how I do vectors, which I admit, because I'm trying to talk to folks in the chat, I can't really talk things through. Basically, I just drew 3 parts. Now, I need these highlights to cut off at the edge of the crystal heart, or at the edge of this face. So by selecting them all and using the divide pathfinder, it cuts everything based on where they overlap. So these are now their own separate shapes, and I can delete them while holding on to everything else. By a similar notion, if I really want to have like tight fitting lines, yes, I will take that as innuendo. Very tight. Basically, I can draw around this. Ba-boom, ba-boom. And because I can't see, I'm going to switch it to an outline. So now, all I got to do to divide it up is go beyond. I will take a page from My Hero Academia and go plus ultra. Let's see. Oh, the music stopped. Did I literally go through all of my YouTube music? I did. Now, sorry, Evangelion 007. Technically, I made Pinkie Pie ship Rainbow Dash with the kitchen sink. So, I recruited Pinkie against her will into shipping. Shame on me. Now, I will throw out several bizarre ships if I can help it. Of course, it's all art of the possible. But then, well, maybe maybe I should rename my streams to that. Art of the possible. Is it possible for me to do this? Probably. Let's give it a go. Though now I confess that it sounds eerily quiet where I am without the music. I've become very dependent on music over the last year. I mean, seriously, it's at work, head down, doing your job. I need some music or I'm going to go crazy. Work out, I need some positive music or I lose energy, which is kind of important in a workout. Oh, yes. Let's see here. So, sorry, a question. I saw Flutterchan. Oh, good to see you again. What are your thoughts on the Space Jam sequel coming soon to the HBO Max? Honestly, Space Jam doesn't sound like the kind of movie that needs a sequel, but when has that ever stopped Hollywood? More than that, I'm like, is Michael Jordan going to be back, or are they bringing in more recent sports talent? I mean, how do I put this? I didn't think Stargate needed its own TV series, but it actually became much beloved, maybe even more beloved than the movie. I'm not going to write something off before, because those will be in my mind when it airs. That's just being human. But I'm not ready to just give up on something before I've seen it. Of course, there may always be an example where it's like, you know what? I think I'd more hate myself if I did enjoy this, so I'm not even going to risk that temptation. A strange mentality, but life is strange, and such things could happen. I'll give you an example. There's a book out there. I don't remember the author, don't remember the title, and that's a good thing. It is sci-fi. It deals with Earth is engaged in a war, but through the gift of alien tech, old soldiers can be rejuvenated, so you have veteran experience in young bodies. The problem is that in one book, specifically for shock value, the author's notes explicitly say, we did this just to shock you, dear reader. They take former SS officers and restore them to youth. And they then have scenes where like they're trying to show that, oh, these poor guys are being judged by everyone, and it's like, yes, yes they are, and they try to say that even Jewish characters are in the wrong for holding a grudge. It's like, what are you doing when you wrote this? Who had this boneheaded idea? And I when I read the synopsis in an online review, I swore to myself, no, no, this is such a terrible idea. I'm not even going to give it my attention or a chance. This is so bad an idea. I went a little nuts reading that. Why anyone would think that was a good idea for a story and not a huge insult to the entire audience is amazing. Although, Trinary, I do appreciate it if I had heard that review while listening to I'm Just a Poor Boy, Nobody Loves Me. I probably would get a laugh and maybe feel probably feel guilty later. I don't think that last break worked the way I wanted it to. It cut into the shape, but not... I have to close up these gaps. So, all this takes... Here's another thing. In Illustrator, at least, I don't know if this is true for Inkscape. You select 2 points and hit Control, or in my case, Command J, and it joins them. They can't be joined to any other point. Darth Revan, could you do a review on Godzilla, the 1954 version? The 1954, that's the original Godzilla, is it not? The one that started it all. I would be down to talk about that. I mean, it's a pivotal movie. And perhaps one of the things that, well, here, I'll just give consider this an early commentary before I've even had time to ponder the whole thing. One of the most standout pieces of that movie is the human impact. Later Godzilla movies, humans were proxy characters. In the American movies, they're arguably a combative force. The original Godzilla showed what life was like in the wake of a terrible disaster. And I think anyone who has lived through a natural disaster would understand that. That's why it was a uniquely human movie in a genre that would later be ridiculed for basically making caricatures. Look, I'll tell you guys a little secret. One of the first Godzilla movies I saw, no, the first Godzilla movie I really saw was Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Compare that to the original Godzilla movie. They're night and day. I had fun with the cheese, but yeah, even when I was just a kid watching the original Godzilla, you could feel there was something very different about this. There was something very, very unique. It was not the same as the later Godzilla vs. movies. And yeah, even Far Cry different. You know, if I had to say one thing I really didn't like about the most recent American Godzilla, it's that scene where jet fighters are flying in to fight alongside Godzilla. How do I put it? It's like we're unwilling to admit we can't be a part of this. That we're not the greatest power. And I think a big part of the Godzilla movies is coming to grips with our own limitations and frailty. So that's a thought. Andrew Hager. Godzilla inspired me to speak with a bad lip sync. I'll tell you, Gamera did that for me. I will never forget a Gamera dub where a little girl nods her head, and you hear the voice actor say yes, but her lips don't move at all. And I was like, my God, the Japanese start their children on ventriloquism at a young age. Freaky deaky. Chump to stay. Favorite snack? Oh, I'm all over the place. Although I will say I've really gotten to enjoy edamame. I'm lucky Costco, you can just heat up a bag and boom, there you go. Only danger is maybe a little bit of gas. Let's see here. As a host, oh, Trinair, why did you have to mention That's a Lot of Fish? I remember that movie. I remember seeing it in theaters. Again, I'm old. But that was not... Although, funny enough, I did not put together that was the same kid who played Ferris Bueller. Bueller. That's a lot of fish. Someone edited that together. I bet you could get a... Okay, wouldn't that make for the weirdest remix? Just have a remix of Bueller. Bueller. That's a lot of fish. Bueller. Bueller. That's a lot of fish. Someone get on that. I have no musical talent. I think I'm going insane this evening. I appreciate y'all sticking with me. I've gotten on my high horse on, on politics, on religion, on storytelling. But I appreciate you listening. And, even if you don't agree, I appreciate you at least devoting the energy to listen. Although, again, I will not agree to disagree on wearing a mask. This is... I so appreciate that this is now a federal rule. Wear a mask. And no, it is not a chin diaper. Or if it is, there's something terribly wrong with your biology. You need to go see a doctor right away. But that doctor will be wearing a mask. And there we go. One crystal heart vector. Head on. Apply directly to the forehead. Although, funny enough, the colors are different. This is also one of the trouble with vectoring. Depending on your monitor, the program, the quality of the file, colors are a little different. If I were to use these in the same comic or image, I would make them a uniform color. But I'm actually going to change these colors. So edit color. Oh, I forget. You can't see the drop-down menu. I'm going to edit at the top of the screen, edit colors, and recolor artwork. This allows me... I'm just going to see if I can't slide the whole shebang over to the pink. Oh, marvelous. I haven't done this in a while, so Illustrator's really improved the features on this. So yeah, one grand sway to red hearts, green clovers, purple horseshoes. I wonder if Twilight's ever gotten sued for purple horseshoes. And now I'm just going to update the... Well, I'm going to save a copy of this vector since I'm the one who made it, by thunder. Well, that's not true. I vectored off someone else's vector. It's not what I would call a claim to fame. Oh, Little Heart, you got to call it a night? Well, have a very good night and a wonderful weekend. So now it's just a matter of changing the colors. My thought is that I will have these red heart weights at the end of the bolas. From what I've seen online, a bola... Oh, God. That's way too easy to mispronounce. A bola features 3 weights. I believe the idea is 2 weights to stretch it out in flight and 1 to assist the wraparound as used in hunting. It's basically used to trip up prey. And there's always the chance it could clock you in the noggin, a la Wicket Wart, the Ewok in Return of the Jedi. You know, I have mixed feelings towards the Ewoks, but I always tear up a little when one Ewok is killed in fighting and his friend tries to make him wake up. It crushed my heart. Oh, I'm crying on the inside. And let's go really dark. Ba-dum and ba-dum. Only thing I don't like is this needs to be a different color. There we are. Yes, excellent. So, Now, my idea is I'm going to be a little cheap. If I have them at an angle, I'll just go like this. They're going to be swinging around really fast, so the goal is more vivid motion than accurate motion. Trainer, you're quoting something from SS Debris I don't remember. Infamy is just fame that hasn't combed its hair. Let's see here. Let's see here. But from Untitled. That is, you are truly a mystery then. What do you wish Friendship is Magic could have done in its run? What do you think it was lacking? I think the biggest thing, or at least one of the biggest things I wish could have been addressed, is that the main six never really got to show their best as teachers with the students. I like the student six. But they always seem to learn in spite of their teachers, not because of them. And I think that's an unfortunate lack. I would much rather have had the main six have a chance to be better teachers and really show what they had learned to their students. You can still have the students have disagreements, and then, hey, we get to celebrate how far Fluttershy has come with her coaching, or how Rainbow Dash actually understands sensitivity more, having befriended Fluttershy more and become a mentor to Scootaloo. That would have been great. Unfortunately, more often than not, they were really bad at teaching. I mean, wow. Let's see here. You know, once upon a time, I would have liked to have known the origins of where Celestia and Luna came from. I've let that go. In some ways, I kind of like the mystique, or just you with the fan. You're a creative group. Have at it. That said, I'm not endorsing a story that doesn't even try. Like an early example is when Destiny first came out. Good grief! They basically were saying make up your own story for your character. Come on, give me something to work with here. Give me an investment, other than you're human. The enemy is not. Go kill them. No, that's not enough. Thank you very little. Now, give me something more, something important for my character. It helps me get into the gameplay more. But in a show that is very creative, like My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, I'm all for if they say, hey, we're leaving this up to the fans to imagine. Hey, I got no problem with that. Trainer, you could have lived without ever seeing Rainbow's parents. I liked them. They were, well, a bit odd, but then again, it wouldn't be My Little Pony if they weren't. I will say, Scootaloo's parents, especially in light of the most recent comic, I really regret that they are so often the antagonistic force. It sure seems like they'll be the ones that need a reality check from other family members because they're not always doing right by Scootaloo, even if their hearts are in the right place. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate when it seems like characters are enhancing things by their absence. Or that you get to see them at their worst often, but not their best. Let's see here. Let's see. Thaddeus Fisher, what MLP episode would you say is the most frustrating? Ooh, frustration. I mean, man, it really depends on where your priorities lie. I think games ponies play is one of the more frustrating because it's set in the Crystal Empire, a place that was really neglected in terms of characters, setting. It never really felt like part of Equestria. But especially Cadence never. That was a chance for Cadence to show her best, and instead she was getting a haircut for most of the episode. I mean, I have this thing where I really wanted Cadence to do more, to stand out more, and she was denied, and that always bugged me. So that one was pretty frustrating. Some pony to watch over me, also very frustrating. Mostly because I feel like neither Applejack nor Apple Bloom truly grew, and in fact, rewarding Apple Bloom for a reckless and dangerous action that nearly got her killed was a bad way to handle the moral. And those darn, what were they, Bayou ponies? I mean, they're just there, then they're gone. It's like, wow, they were a thing. They sure exist. So yeah, those two episodes were never really big on my list. Kamodra, I'm afraid I don't think I'll have Wolf on the stream. He's a very quiet guy. I'm not certain this would be this would be a great fit for him. So I don't mean to disappoint, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And what did I do to this chain? How did it get all wonky? All the others are fine. Why can't you be cool, chain? You're the weakest link. Hello, Mother Mericet? Mericet? Man, tonight is also a night where I can't pronounce diddly squat. Darth Revan, want to like Cadence, but she's a Barbie doll, which is saying something considering how the show has the voice of Barbie in the dang show. What is this? The Barbie from Dreamhouse? I mean, which of the cast? Spike voiced. Kathy Westlook voiced Barbie, didn't she? I've heard Cadence described as the Disney princess that escaped. It is true that I think Cadence was hindered by her marketability as a princess versus her character shining through as a princess. There's that saying, oh, everyone wants to be a princess, or all little girls want to be a princess. I think it's the reverse. Princesses represent young women, and that's why there's a diversity to how they behave as princesses. And there's no one right way to be a princess. Problem is, marketing gets involved, and then suddenly it becomes more homogenized. Homogeneous? Yeah. I'm mostly pointing to the Disney princesses. I'm pretty sure homogenized is actually milk production. So, there's a bit of weirdness for tonight. Sorry, Seth Moss, I have not seen Gilmore Girls. Oh, Inkman. Funny you should ask if I will ever review Pony Life episodes. I actually have 90% of a script done for the entire Trail Trotters arc. And a look at, well, its depiction of Fluttershy and its approach to the trope of the liar revealed. I have a lot to say on the topic, and I realized rather than go over individual episodes per review, just tackle the whole blessed thing, as it's more a story overall than it is in its individual skits. So that will be coming, but likely at the tail end of February. I have some shipping related topics for the coming weeks, and also want to make time for. I've done my best on Patreon art commissions or rewards, but I have not done any reviews, and I look to change that. Sun Tzu wondering, how do I feel technology on the show has been portrayed in MLP? In MLP, it had this glorious, someone once described it as technological schizophrenia. You would have steampunk carriages in one episode, and then New York big screen TVs in another. It was always all over the place, and in a curious way, that made it timeless. And I thought that was a lot of fun. In a weird way, I feel that that will carry over better than Pony Life, which features much more contemporary technology, especially tablets, and a lot of internet jokes. I think that that's another reason why Friendship is Magic has more staying power. I found the technological schizophrenia endearing, charming. Other ings. the time You've heard of the land that time forgot, but you've yet to see the land where time became senile. Okay, thank you, Q. Starlight voiced Barbie. Wait a minute, she also voiced several villains outside of MLP. No wonder they went with her. Though I maintain, when a niece of mine, no, well, no, not a niece, getting my family relations. This was a second cousin, and her daughter came over, who was a joyful bundle of energy. We tried to at least distract her or give the adults some time to talk by finding Barbie on Netflix. And quite unexpectedly, that's how I discovered Barbie Life in the Dream House. And as I watched this, I mean, she was just enamored because it was Barbie. I was watching this like, wait, this is Barbie? What is going on? This was so not a Barbie show I expected, and was thoroughly confused. I kind of wondered, wait, this can't be made for my cousin's age range. Who's this for? Ender Pump. Pup. Ender Pup. Sleep on your backside or stomach. I am a side sleeper. I have just discovered ads for the Pillow Cube, which is supposed to be better for side sleepers, so I have something to investigate so I can get some better Z's. Yo, Komodo Steel, I can dig it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so almost there. Creating these bolas, which I will use to bola over some shipping. I am funny. Let's see. Oh, and I realized that without music getting focused on a task, I'll just lead to dead air, and that will make people uncomfortable. Because it's true. I think anything more than 3 seconds of dead air is considered panic. Panic! Whoop. That didn't quite work. There we go. So, golden chains. Honestly, I made this more complicated than I should. All I gotta do... Ba-boom, ba-boom. The marvel of duplication. Get rid of one link. Boom. Oh, well, I'll save that for a minute. Basically, hopefully you can all see what I'm working towards here. This is another fun little trick. I've highlighted these, and now I will use this reflect tool, which again Stream is not picking up the pop-up windows. I must figure out how to fix that, because if I want to really try to encourage people in vectoring or digital art, being able to actually see what the heck I'm doing is kind of important. Right now, I think my best bet is screen recording software, even QuickTime. That didn't work quite the way I'd hoped. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Much better. So, there we go. 3 bolas. And I will just add a little circle right now, which will serve as, well, and then just make a little rounded rectangle tool, like so. And like so. And now it looks like it has at least a proper anchor. So this is clearly a bola that's going to hit hard. I mean, it's chain and crystal and hearts. But I figure love hurts. I'm going to make it hurt. Oh, Thaddeus Risher, what MLP character do I relate to the most? Very much Fluttershy. It's why she's my favorite. I appreciate that folks like Sun Tzu are saying you enjoy my personality. There was a very real time in my life where I was so shy I wouldn't have been able to do this. I would dream of maybe being so outgoing, but I wouldn't have done it. It's taken a lot of time, a lot of practice, and above all, a lot of error to do what I do in the fandom. It's part of why I enjoy and miss going to conventions. I know it sounds funny, but every convention was equal parts an enjoyment, but also a test of courage. And afterwards, I would feel that adrenaline rush, but also an adrenaline crash to say, hey, I did it. Whew. So, I relate to Fluttershy because her anxiety and the fact that it doesn't just go away after one success, I totally empathize with. And I also empathize with Luna on the concept of feeling on the outside. Long before My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, I was at a comic book shop in my high school days, and there was a Sailor Moon, what was it, like a cookie jar on the counter. And I was a Sailor Moon fan. But then I heard someone say, oh, Sailor Moon, that show needs to die. And I realized very quickly I needed to keep that under wraps, as they say, hide your power level. So in a weird way, being a Sailor Moon fan prepared me for being a brony. People don't get it. There are both legitimate and illegitimate criticisms. But you kind of learn to deal. I'll give you another example, much more recent. This was 2012. I was at a class going for an associate's in graphic design. And people were talking about Friendship is Magic, but they were saying, oh yeah, that's a fetish, isn't it? I said nothing. I did not try to explain it. For some people, I think yes. The answer is yes. But at the same time, it was really disappointing to hear a show I really enjoy and a fandom's creativity described as just that. So, I did take a certain satisfaction that when the time came for end projects on display at our graduation, I had a loop of Silver-Quill clips going because a big part of how I got started in this was through projects. Doing something fun for school. Who'd have thunk it? And that same teacher, he looked at this and said, I had no idea you did this. I was like, yeah, I do. But I didn't bring up what he said. I didn't try for an aha gotcha or giving him the finger or anything ridiculous like that. All I can say is trying to put your best self out there does a lot more than trying to have an aha gotcha moment. So there we go. A gold and ruby bola that will probably cause massive head injury, and I'll just call it lovesick. So let's call this a love bola as I get ready. And with that, I've gone over time because my thanks to you all. You've made this a lot more fun than if I had just been sitting here drawing. Getting to interact, getting to talk. I appreciate, even without a guest, that folks would come and talk to me. Sewer Planet, I'm sorry I haven't played the Henry Stickmin collection. And Thaddeus, further going on my relation to Fluttershy, Flight to the Finish. Oh, that one gets me every time. I adore that episode. So, but with that, I think occupied enough of your time. I thank you for sharing your time with me and checking things out. I have much more work to do this evening, but some of it will be rather tedious. And I want you all to have the chance to enjoy many things this evening. I will throw out there my friend Brawny Buck. He was doing a Brawny Debates this evening, talking about Flurry Heart's future. And I'd recommend you go check that out. See what he thinks of how we got from Flurry Heart the baby to Flurry Heart the teenager ruler, I believe. That'd be interesting. So I wish you all a wonderful weekend and a wonderful evening. Be safe.